So I'm going to have to do another video again because on Mara, M-A-R-A, and Bitcoin, because people seem to not get it. This stuff I'm reading on Reddit, the amount of people that just don't get stuff, they don't understand things, the misinformation out there is ridiculous. They're acting like it's a stock and the market doesn't want it. It's connected to Bitcoin. It can disconnect when there's short covering and there's heavy shorts as well. Okay? And Bitcoin's connected to the halving as well as the US dollar. Runs inverse of the dollar. So I think you all keep forgetting, you know, I'm reading stuff here on Reddit. The first thing I wanted to get at here was to discuss is that Bitcoin has nothing, then I didn't invest in this. I wasn't even expecting a Bitcoin spot ETF approval. I was already in this. I was like, yeah, that's cool. If it happens, whatever. If it goes lower, I'm going to add, right? Which I did. And Mara does have more downside. Bitcoin does have more downside as well. So not that much, though, in my opinion. There's more money in Mara now. And Bitcoin's at a higher price than prior. Mara owns Bitcoin, and they just acquired 2 more mining companies. Their hash rate's through the roof. You know, they're pulling in 900 Bitcoin a month. That's ridiculous. That's insane. So they own Bitcoin. Then when Bitcoin doubles, triples, Mara can run a lot harder than that because they're a business. They make more money than just double or triple, right? So they have mining facilities in places where there's low energy, so it keeps the cost down. Not only do they have Bitcoin that goes up, but they make money mining it, which is why it runs so hard. And one of the reasons it was running, there was a bunch of buying, there was a bunch of FOMO buying and short covering whenever it hit that 31 bucks. People are messaging me, asking me, hey, I think I'm going to short Mara. And you know, I'm thinking like, what are you're going to short it at the bottom? No, the time to short it was up here. Right there. If you didn't, you want to short here at a bottom off a 1, 2, 3 reversal off an EMA. Seems kind of crazy to me. There could be a gap filled at 1371. If you guys see this gap here, let's take a look at this. We've got a small gap right there. And that's not that far off. It was just 1450. It would have had to not even drop another dollar. It would have filled it. Bitcoin, let's go ahead and take a look at the gap. The gap has been filled. I drew this gap here. We filled it. We could probably see this EMA. Keep in mind, guys, the halving hasn't happened yet. We haven't had the Bitcoin halving yet. What is it? Oh, it's not going to do it. Mara's over. It's done. These are people that are thinking like 2 days out. Okay? I'm thinking a year out. Like over in here. If we look at Bitcoin, there was the halving and it ran up after. It lagged for about a month or two. Each time there's a halving, there's less of a lag before it runs. This time we are running because we have quantitative easing. Like in 2020, there was a Bitcoin halving almost right at where we went into QE, and there was QE. And what are we about to have this time? QE and a halving at the same time, on top of way, way more money that can flow in this time. And there's going to be people FOMOing, and they're going to provide liquidity for my exits. I'm going to be selling the top instead of buying it, right? But everyone that buys over here complains. It's like emotionally they feel better when they buy it when it's going parabolic. So everyone complaining about Mara, everyone complaining about Bitcoin bought the, as of right now, top. We also had a 1, 2, 3 huge candle reversal right here, and we had a gap fill. And also, keep in mind, because everyone's saying, you know, you called for Mara to go up. Well, it did go up. My dollar cost average is in the 9s. I also called for Bitcoin and everything else in the miners to go down 3 weeks ago. Look at this right here, 3 weeks ago. In this video, I said it was going to be a play the anticipation, sell the news event. Did I exit? I didn't. I really didn't want to miss it in case it kept going higher. I'd rather just add. I'm not selling. I'm just slowly accumulating. Okay? And you guys can do whatever you want. I'm just talking about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, which is the Bitcoin halving. Right? So, In this video, I talked about how Bitcoin was going to drop, and I'm using an example over here as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at Mara here on another chart. We're going to pull up Mara here. There's Mara at 83 bucks. Let's go to a monthly chart. I'll have to do it again for everybody. There's a guy on Reddit that said the market doesn't want Mara anymore. Miners are dead. And it's like, it's connected to Bitcoin. What's Bitcoin going to do? Okay. Number one, what's Bitcoin going to do? Well, there's a halving. It's went up every single time in every single halving. What makes Bitcoin move? Okay. Ask these questions. Well, two things. The US dollar. US dollar goes down, Bitcoin goes up. They have an inverse relationship. If you don't believe it, look at it side by side by Dixie, which I can show you, probably show you on this chart here. And the Bitcoin halving. Bitcoin halving and the US dollar is going to go down with QE. Those two things make Bitcoin go up. The halving is right on about tomorrow, 3 months away. So I got in Mara early because I didn't want to miss it. Sure, it would have been nice to sell at 31. Am I red? I'm not. I'm still green. And the people that are red and want to go short here, I'm having multiple people saying they're going short off the EMA. Off the EMA bounce, you're going to go short off that? Why didn't you short? It's like the same, it's the same type of guy. It's the same type of person. They buy the top, then they go short and buy puts at the bottom. If you just inverse that, right? If you'd inverse that, then it'd be different. You're just going with what your emotions are feeling. And what you see, oh, it's so bearish, I'm going to buy a put. Oh, it's so bullish, I'm going to go in. You kind of like inverse that, right? You got to look at the technical analysis and act like a robot and enter an exit on that. But anyways, here was halving, 2016 halving when Bitcoin exploded. Mara went to 39 from 5. They didn't have as much Bitcoin back then. And then the market did forget about it. And it also forgot about Bitcoin, and it runs off Bitcoin, right? So it went down. We're at 35 cents right before the halving in 2020. And it went to $83. You're talking about like 200xing your money there. Now that was different because there was COVID, right? And we went into heavy QE. It's not going to be like that this time, in my opinion. Doesn't mean it won't. But did Bitcoin run off a spot ETF right here making Mara go up? No. Again, I'm gonna have to keep saying this over and over. Why did it run? The Bitcoin halving. Bitcoin halving happened in May, which was right here. Let's take a look at May. May, April, May. And she started to run, didn't she? Started to run a lot. It was just 35 cents and it went to $5 right at the Bitcoin halving, right? What followed that? Then what happened? Right? This doesn't look like a big drop here, but if you got in at 5 from 35 cents, and then it drops down to $1.05 again, oh, it's over. I'm going to walk away. I'm going to buy puts here. This is why I'm happy. You know, 98% of traders lose, and I'm doing the opposite of them, and then they're like kind of attacking me, like, why are you going long here, puts? Why are you not going long here at 31? It's like, what? Why are you buying at $9? It looks like it has more downside. I called every move that would happen. I called for it to go up. My entry was almost perfect. Right as it started to go in the nines, mid nines. Then I called for it to go down as well as Bitcoin. I was right on that, right as the spot ETF came out. Ran for about 1 or 2 more days. Right? And what I'm calling for, in my opinion, from now until the halving is chop. It's going to go down ferociously and chop up a little bit and be bearish chop. We're still in a downtrend, in my opinion, a little bit. But it's going to be bearish chop until the halving. It's not doing anything until the halving. It's a coin toss. We could use technical analysis to judge where it's going to go for the next few days or so. But at the end of the day, you can expect if you buy, it's going to be red. If you don't buy, it'll go up. If you buy, it'll go down. If you don't buy, it'll go up, right? But what I'm looking at here is the bigger picture, right? Imagine if I bought at 5 and then was crying that it went to although I wouldn't because I knew the halving was happening. I was monitoring this. Riot was the one. Mara wasn't as prevalent. back then in 2020. Mara's the winner now. Riot's, you know, they shifted. But imagine, you know, crying about it if you got it at, you know, $2.30 and it goes down to $1.50 and then it runs to 80. I don't want to miss something like this. You know, the only two dead giveaways are gold and bonds coming up here for QE. I mean, it's just, why do I really care about anything else if the probability is so high? Why would I be like, you know what, no, I'm going to focus on the low probability one for the adrenaline rush, right? That's what young people do. They chase that dopamine high, the anxiety, the rush, the thrill, and something that's like a bond, like TLT, that can rip ferociously during QE. They're like, ew, get that away from me. And then they cry about blowing their accounts. It's very frustrating being in the trading community. The trading community can be very frustrating at times. And it's just due to a lack of information. It's hard to get educated. I get it. It took me a long time. And now that I'm educated, I'm all out here all righteous now, right? Like, how do you guys not know? I'm hearing myself. I'm taking accountability here. So a nice pullback, which we needed. Because Mara started to disconnect, guys, from Bitcoin. When I saw it shooting up to 31 while Bitcoin was dropping, that was probably a time to take profits or sell a covered call. But, you know, I expected downside. I didn't know how much. My dollar cost average is 9. We have a slight gap fill, and it can go lower. At the end of the day, I don't care because we have the Bitcoin halving coming. So I'm going to be adding more positions probably if we fill this gap on Mara, my final position. It's almost the same thing as playing Bitcoin. Your gains can be a little bit better. You can sell covered calls to exit. I kind of like that. I'm mainly heavy in crypto. Miners are just a treat. You know, whenever I make profit from the market, when I have fixed income come in, I'm buying miners, so they're free to me. So I really don't have any risk, and I also enter properly. I was writing about all this in the Discord in June, guys. I wrote about everything that was going to happen in June, and I've been talking about it since 2022, that, you know, the Bitcoin halving's coming up. Bitcoin halving's coming up. And I thought in 2021 that this 2024 halving was just like light years away. And here we are. We're already here, 3 months out. So we can see over here before the halving, Bitcoin didn't do very well. It was chopping all over the place. But did it really matter when it ran that high? You know? The charts, this pop is going to elongate the charts. So we really can't see over here. But we can see after that, right on the month of the halving in 2016, we dipped a little bit. But overall, it ripped, especially over here. But again, like I said prior in this video, each halving cycle, the run is starting earlier and earlier because more people know about it. The 2012 halving, I'm pretty sure that was the first halving. Then it caught everyone's attention. Well, is it going to do it again? Oh my gosh, it did it again. Are you serious? So then 2020 halving came along, but everyone was thrown off with COVID. This time there's a spot ETF approval, and everyone's like, okay, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, right? Shame on me. Fool me 3 times. I've got to go in. And I think that has a lot to do. Bitcoin has a lot more dominance now, and it's mainstream. It's officially mainstream. On top of BRICS talking about integrating Bitcoin into their payment system. But classic TA. All else fails. Your emotion gets in the way. You listen to the technical analysis. 1, 2, 3, reversal. Okay? On top of that, the video I pointed out, buy the anticipation, sell the event. That's always my saying when there's known events. If it's random news that comes out, then it would soar and soar and soar because it wasn't anticipated. If it's anticipated, people are going to be taking profits from all the profit that they made during the event the second the news came out. The news is bad, it goes down. The news is good, it goes down. New traders don't understand this. At the end of the day, this is a risk I'm willing to take. Doesn't mean it's going to work out. Does it have a high probability? It does, in my opinion. It's never not went. $10 to 1,000, right? A couple $100 to 20,000 over here. 9,000 to 68,000. So, if you guys like this content, make sure to like and follow for more.